Reflection promotes emotional awareness. Self-reflect always promotes emotional awareness. And if we talk about emotion, if we just take a few minutes to talk about emotions, who really shows their emotion? All of us, we are so busy to show our emotion. I struggle with my clients in practice, asking them to own their feelings. They don't even know. Some of them don't even know what own your feeling means. It's acknowledging your feeling. It's knowing how you feel. It doesn't. You don't have to really express it all the time, but at least do you know it? Do you know if you're angry? Do you know if you're upset? Do you know if you're feeling lonely? Do you know if you're feeling bored, annoyed, fed up, tired? How do you deal with your feelings? This was, again, another grace I see. It's a grace that was given to us so generously, actually, to reflect and have this self-awareness. Because with self-awareness, you know what happens? You start learning about your strengths and your weaknesses. You start knowing what drives you and what motivates you and what doesn't. And therefore, because of that, we found that so many creatives were just sprung out in this period of time. Don't you think so? Many people had Instagram accounts for doing either baking or doing clothes or doing accessories, doing beautiful things. Other people went, their creativity literally was shining in art and in everything that has to do with art and artistic arena there. Others in writing, others maybe in poetry, many things that allowed people to just be and create and find that creative part in them. And this brings me to another thing that was, again, a struggle in this period of time, which is it's okay to take a rest. It's okay to take a rest in this time, because many people were struggling with this rest. Many people felt guilty not to go to work, felt guilty not to go to school or to college or to the university. Many people felt guilty to sleep late in the morning, to sleep in till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or even 1 o'clock. When was the last time you slept that much? If we look at our age span, like إن شاء الله كلنا لنا طولة العمر، بس let's say if متوسط كلنا عشنا 80 سنة, 80 years. From 80 years, 1 year was taken as a break. People who work in business, what do you think? It's not too much. It's not too much to take a rest. It's okay to take a rest. That's the permission that I would like you to just tell yourself. It's okay. It's okay to sleep in the morning if this was the case here. It's okay to take a rest. And I want to tell you something about taking a rest. I wanted to bring the subject of depression, because many people mix up depression or see depression as something really shameful, and they see it as something we shouldn't talk about and we shouldn't say and we shouldn't tell people about or show people that we are depressed or we have depression or we are under medication for depression or whatever, or we get therapy or whatever for depression. I'll tell you what depression is. Depression literally is what we are, the chance that we were given today, but it's done by your physical body when you are overloading it. When you overload your body and your mind with ideas, with thinking, with analyzing, with work, with whatever, you get so tired, but you're not giving yourself a break. So what happens? You get depression. You get depression because that's the way of your body telling you, you have to relax. You have to really rest. That's what happened in the universe. We were all running like headless chicken. Literally all of us. Oh, yeah, most of us, okay, I don't want to make it a generalization, but all of us, we were so tired, running around, not really paying attention to what's important, not paying attention to ourselves, not to our feelings, not to us as human beings, not to our universe as a place where we live, nothing. We were just running. We had to be depressed. We had to be put back to where we can rest forcefully. Again, it's a grace. What I see is a grace. It's a graceful period that we were given. What's a grace period? You know, in your exam, when they tell you have a grace period. In your work, when they tell you you have a due date on that date, and you don't bring your work finished on that date, what do they tell you? Take a grace period, right? We will give you a grace period. That's like an extended period that's given to you without expenses, so you can finish the work. We are in that graceful period. So do we really want to do something to change that? That's another thing to think about. One last thing I want to talk about was the time defined. I want you all to think back about the time. Now, 9 months from now, since this year started, how did you see time? How was time concept to you? Did you feel this year finished quickly or very slowly? Did it take its sweet time, or was it like super quick? I'm sure at times it felt like forever. But on daily basis, if you remember, if anyone asks you what's the day today, very rarely you would answer which day is today, unless you are writing or reading something that has date on it. So most of us, we don't know which day we are in. This means it's going just so fast. That's another graceful thing. هاي لطف الله فينا إن هذه الفترة ما طولت. على كثر ما هي طويلة ما حسيناها طويلة. هي سنة الحين almost. ما حسيناها سنة. أنا ما أدري. أنا ما حسيتها سنة وعارف وايد ناس ما حسوها سنة. أنا بقول لكم شيء وايد يضحك. أنا يوم الجمعة عندي certain rituals. I do certain rituals on Friday. So Friday marks the week for me. Every Friday, when the next Friday comes, I feel like it took only 3 days for Friday. It didn't take a week. It wasn't a week for Friday. It was that quick. And sometimes I think like I have to do these rituals once every 2 weeks because the Friday is coming so quickly. Again, I see this as a very, very graceful thing that we didn't feel the time. And you know, in statistics, you know, all the دراسات تقول إنه when you expose someone to a scary or a stressful situation, they feel the time is very long. Even if it was like 5 minutes, this person exposed to stress, they will see it as very long. The same 5 minutes, if you expose people to fun and happy things, they feel it's very short. Like when we travel, we feel, oh my God, the vacation finished so fast. If we're having fun, we feel, oh, this day finished so fast. We were exposed to something really traumatic, what we went through. We were exposed to something very stressful. But did we feel that thing? Did we feel the time was really long? No. No, time flew. Remember Ramadan? How Ramadan? I can't even remember Ramadan. It's like it's been a year. And many other things, you know, it's just everything that came with this year came with grace, came with huge grace. And this is how we can help ourselves to see it. Just to finish all this up, because I took a little bit over what I needed to take, I wanted to talk about ego death, because this whole thing is an ego death. An ego death is something that happens to us every stage of our lives. It doesn't happen one time like the real death. And it feels like real death. And for those who feel this period is like really a yucky period and they want to just get it over with and yalla, when will we go back to our normal life? I just want to remind you all, this is just an ego death. And if we don't go through this ego death, we will not be able to handle what's coming. Because each ego death prepares you for the stage that's coming after that. And like when we are babies, infants, no ego there until 3 years old. So from 3 years old until you are, like say, 10 years old, you have a certain ego. Then this ego has to die because another ego is coming in its place. It's the teenager ego. Ooh, this is the largest and hugest ego. Because you can't live with the ego of 7-year-old when you are 13 years old. You need something different. So that dies and something else comes up. And every time an ego dies, you feel really that, like that يعني محصة كذي في بطنك، تحس بطنك أو بطنك تحسون كأن روحكم قاعد تطلع، لأنه هو صدق death. It feels like your soul is leaving your body. But it's for your own good. It's because you are being prepared with new tools for the new stage. That's what happens in ego death. And today we are all, as a whole universe, this mass collective humanity is going through this ego death. Those people who understand that as an ego death, it will be much milder and an easy process for them. People who resist, what you resist persists. People who resist will find it harder. And in order to really be empowered and literally take the initiative in our own lives, we need to let go of that ego. Let go and really, really allow things to just be and follow that process without any resistance. The more we resist, the harder it will be. The easier we let it go and let things be, the easier it will be for us. And this is like what I would like to wrap all this up with, is healing versus insisting on just dwelling on I'm the victim and my life has been messed up because of this year and what happened in this year. Let's see it as a year of healing, and let's allow this healing to happen by really letting go and allowing things to just take its process. I hope I have shared with you some of what goes in my head. And thank you so much for listening to me.